Hey, hey, mamas. Welcome back to another awesome episode of the Mama Work It podcast. So glad you're here. My name is Marissa Lonick. I'm your host and the founder of Mama Work It, where we support women in the juggle of mom life, work life, wife life, fill in the blank life. Super excited to introduce you to our guest today. His name is Chris Rodack. He is the founder of Rising Father, a global men's brand, and Men of Fire, a father transformation program, as well as the host of the Rising Father podcast. Having transformed his own life from a music teacher to a physically peaked multi-six-figure online entrepreneur, husband, and father of two, after shedding over 60 pounds and reclaiming his drive, Chris is fiercely dedicated to helping men ignite their inner fire. His mission is to equip men with the tools and community to achieve peak discipline, optimize their health, lead their families with strength, and live with unwavering purpose, fostering a movement of fathers committed to relentless growth and becoming a guiding lighthouse for their loved ones. So excited for this conversation. Chris, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited. Glad you reached out.
Yeah, good. Well, we don't often get a dad's slash husband's perspective on this show. And I love that you, of all people, are one of the few that get to represent that demographic for the Mama Work It community.
Appreciate
So
it.
tell us more about your journey into, your partnership, parenthood, kind of how this all came to be.
Yeah, and I'll try to keep it. If I ramble, just let me know. But yeah, like my bio said, I was a music teacher. I came from a big family. I had a big Catholic family. I had have 8 brothers and sisters. Grew up in like
Wow.
a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house, and went to school for music. Fell in love with the saxophone. Got married, met my wife at college, and got married to her. And during that time, it was a huge transition for me. Like everything I'm doing now, my purpose and what I do with my business, everything is kind of tied into the story of myself, which is why this needs to be told. So as I got my first job, I kind of let myself go physically with my discipline and everything. I used to be in great shape. I was ripped. I did this beach body workout called P90X. It was huge back in the day.
I remember what that
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
So it was a tough one. So I did 3 times in a row because like my senior year of college, when I met my wife, I went from going to the gym every day, and I started just like hanging out with her more and watching movies. Not saying it's her fault; it's my fault, but like I just kind of got more relaxed. And then I was senior year of college. I was like, this isn't who you are. So I did P90X for a year, got ripped again. Then I got married, had kids, and over the next 10 years, put on a bunch of weight, lost my discipline, and really lost my identity of who I was. Of this, I considered myself like an in shape, disciplined athlete, and I just let it go. And as I let myself go physically and with my discipline, I noticed that my inner fire started to die. My confidence started to die. The way, things I would even want to do with my wife or my kids weren't the same as I let myself go physically and with discipline. And over this decade and over these years, my self-belief, my identity, and what I thought I was capable of doing, all were skewed based on those everyday actions of, hey, you don't have to go to the gym today. You can have an extra drink. You can do all these things. And I've found through the work that I do now that a lot of guys and husbands and fathers find themselves in that. You're super busy with work. You're super busy providing. You're super busy as a husband and father, taking care of the house. And whenever you let yourself go and your disciplines a little bit, all these other things start to slide. So what I'm focused on now is helping guys get these systems and disciplines back while still being a great husband, father, and kind of thriving in that chaos instead of drowning in it.
Yeah. So leaning heavy into those systems, those disciplines, because they are sort of the root of your ability to show up in all those other places is what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, if I don't feel good about the person I see in the mirror, it could be like, you can give me the female perspective too, but I know that, if I have this memory of me being in shape and disciplined and, just really on top of myself back in the day, and I look at myself this past week and I've skipped all the gyms or all the gym sessions, and I've eat fast food, or I've drank more than I should have. I just feel, for me, it just kills me on the inside, and I feel down, and it saps my presence and energy. And if I can, for guys, a lot of us, we go to sleep frustrated, and we're not just frustrated at our wife might think we're frustrated at her, but really we're frustrated at ourselves. We're like, no, I let myself down today. And how it comes off to our family is unpresent, impatient, and dad's in his head. Dad's shut down. But no, dad's just, he broke a promise to himself and he feels bad.
Mm. Okay. Okay. I love hearing all this because I feel like it's hard to get in my husband's head sometimes, like
Yeah.
I'm a different person, right? So,
Yes.
yeah. All right. So you've built Rising Father from this place of personal transformation. Take us back to a point where you felt like you were failing or falling
Yeah.
short as a man, as a father. Like, what did that specific pain feel like? What was the critical realization that sparked your journey to reclaim this leadership, this vitality, this realization that maybe another mom, dad listening might need to hear you say today?
Yeah, on my website, I've got this video that kind of like tells my story. And I always point to this one moment. It was probably 8 years ago or so. I got for me, it was my dream teaching job. I was a music teacher. So I got the place I wanted to work since I was a kid. It's a beautiful fall day. I was at this amusement park with my wife and baby and toddler boy. Should have been the most unbelievable day. Like I should have been happy. I should have been confident. I should have been energetic. And I took this picture of myself next to my son, and I wasn't even smiling. I could just see the disappointment in my face. And it was all stemmed from me. Like I was probably like 50, 60 pounds overweight at that point, when just a couple years earlier, I was in great shape. And like, I wasn't chasing my side businesses or hustles or anything like that. Like I was just, even though my environment, my family was the best it could be, because I was personally letting myself go so much, I couldn't be happy in these situations or present because I was so full of inner frustration. I looked at this photo afterwards and I said, you are stealing these moments from your family. Like you're stealing the energy and joy and presence you could be giving your son. Like your son should have had a happy father right there, but you weren't. You were being selfish. You were in your head about your own failures. So I said, I can't, this isn't going to happen anymore. So I need to transform myself. Like I need to build myself back up, focus on me, build me so that I can give more in those moments. I want to be energetic. I want to be happy. And if I'm not happy with myself, I don't love and respect myself, it's really hard for me to do that to other people. So I need to focus on that so I can give that to my family. So it really was like looking at that photo was one of the, I think, the core turning points for me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing how sometimes seeing yourself from that outside perspective of like looking at a photo or watching a video or something can kind of take you outside of your head and give you that objective viewpoint of it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's the same thing as like it's so easy to talk about the physical because you can see it. But it's the same thing as if whenever you slowly lose weight, slowly gain weight, your wife might not see it because she's with you every day. You might not see it, but whenever you see that before and after picture, like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I used to look like that, either in a positive way or a negative way. Like, oh, I'm in such better shape, or oh my goodness, I didn't know I put on that much weight. I let myself slip that much. And one thing I encourage, we do weekly projects in my group for these fathers. And one thing I had them do was I said, all right, I want you to take your phone and I want you to put it on voice recorder. And whenever you're frustrated with your kids, I want you to put it down on a table and hit record. Record for 5 minutes, and then later in the day, listen to yourself. Because I want you to understand and listen objectively to how you're coming off. Like you think you're coming off a certain way. How do you actually sound to an outside person? So everyone on our Zoom calls, we're talking about, oh my goodness, I didn't know I was that angry sounding. Like I sounded terrifying. I really, like I would not want my own father to sound like that, but that was me. And it's exactly what you're saying. Like whenever you listen to yourself with a voice recorder or with video or pictures, you get a completely different perspective, and it can be life-changing.
Wow. What a powerful exercise. Yeah. I feel like I should do that too.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
anyone, no matter how on top of it you think you are. Like if I did it today, there'd be things I love, things I don't love. But you got to be willing to like drop the ego and be like, okay, I'm not perfect. There's some.
Yeah.
Let's grow the things that I'm doing well, and let's cut out the things that I'm not doing well, and try to see if I can replace those.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So many dads listening, they might feel trapped in this complacency cycle, right? And I feel like moms too, we get that way. Maybe health has slipped, maybe ambitions dwindled, maybe connection with family or health or whatever. So from your experience coaching hundreds of men, what's the single most common yet often unacknowledged pain point or limiting belief, as we coaches like to use that terminology, that keeps men stuck? And what's the direct, uncompromising truth they need to confront to begin healing, rising, bettering the situation?
The most important, I think, the thing that goes under the radar that we focus on, that I focus on, is your identity and self-belief and self-worth. Because like, if you're a guy who's struggling with complacency, you've been trying to go to the gym, you've been saying you're going to go to the gym tomorrow for the last 20 years. You've been saying this is the weekend I'm not going to drink for 10 years straight, but you constantly find yourself doing that. If I just tell you these things, like, hey, don't drink, do this bench press, do this nutrition plan, it's not going to matter to you. Tony Robbins could show up at your house, tell you what to do. It's not going to matter. If you see yourself as someone who's failing, if you see yourself as somebody who's not worth pushing, if you think I'm going to screw this up, I'm going to fail this again, I never commit to things, I'm not going to commit to this next thing. If that is your identity, then you are never going to break out of that. So you have to understand, how are you speaking to yourself? What is your inner speech? If I were to tell you, this is another exercise we do, I said, write a story about yourself as if you were the third person. Who is Chris Rodack? What do I think about myself? Is this guy going to be successful? Is he going to be wealthy, powerful, wise? Like, do I think positively about myself or negatively about myself? Am I my greatest ally or the person that pulls me down the most? That is your identity. It's how you see yourself. So I would say to that guy, monitor your inner speech, monitor what you actually believe about yourself, and slowly start to change that. So you have to fake it a little bit at first. Like, because if you flat out think you're a failure, you can say positive affirmations all day, and it's not going to change the thing. But you have to start there. Like, you have to say, no, Chris, I know you failed this past year, but you are a good father. You are a good husband. You do want to be healthy. So you need to tell yourself those things. And then you need to slowly start to build proof to back up that story. Because you can't tell yourself one thing and then live a different life. Like, if you say, no, I'm a good husband, then you have to say, today I'm going to do this thing to prove to myself that I'm a good husband. I know I snapped at my wife and made her feel like crap yesterday, but today I'm going to be different. And I'm going to, I don't know, flowers, or I'm going to do the dishes for her. I'm going to clean the kid, whatever your wife really could take something off her plate. Like, I'm going to prove today that I am that guy. It starts with shifting your perspective and then actually replacing those habits. And if you do that over time, it can compound into more self-confidence, self-belief, and a different self-identity.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I want to challenge this question for a minute, because I feel like this makes so much sense theoretically to all of us when we hear it, but it is so challenging to implement a lot of the times, because these are deeply rooted stories we've been telling ourselves for years. And so for you, for example, like, you had been in great shape before and you let yourself slip. And so you had that proof beforehand that, like, you could get back there. You've seen it in yourself. Mm-hmm. What if someone hasn't had that in their past? Like, that's got to be a bigger hurdle to jump. What do you tell those guys?
Absolutely. And that's common. There's a guy who joined us last week. On our call, I asked him, I was like, have you ever been in great shape? Or how long has it been since you have? He's like, no, I've never been in great shape. Mm-hmm. So that's very common. There's some guys who live like that, and then they realize at 35 or 40 or 45, hey, I don't want to be like this till the day I die. So the prescription for that is just start small, because you can't tap into that reservoir of memories and say, I know this man's on the inside. So you need to just like many other people have said, just set your alarm, get out of bed when you promised yourself you would. Like, just if doing a 60-minute workout at the gym is too much for today, just get down and do 5 push-ups. If you haven't done 5 push-ups for the past 3 months, then this is going to be a small win for you. And then your self-belief and confidence and identity can't be tied to your results and what you accomplish because you don't have that yet. It has to be to your habits and what you're doing. And I prove to myself that it has to be like your aspirations. I want to be a better person, so I'm going to do everything I can to strive to be that. I won't reach perfection today, but I'm going to strive for it. So it's brick by brick, slow win by slow win. And then if you do that over 12 months, then you will become that person. Then you will have that concrete memory. Just an example, there's a guy who joined us a month ago, and we did a fasting challenge in my group. Any time limits you want. If you've never fasted before in your life, do 12 hours, do 18 hours. If you have, try to go for 3 days. Like I did 3 days, some other guys did 3 days. Guy, he was one of those guys. He's never been in shape before. He came in, he's like, no, I want to do 3-day fast. I was like, you don't have to, man. He's like, no, I want to come in on fire, do 3-day fast. He did a 3-day fast his very first 3 days in the program, and it just set him off. Like he's been crushing it ever since. He's down 15 pounds. He said, the relationships are changing because he feels so much more confident, he feels better. So now he just challenged himself, and that little bit of proof he gave himself is going to start to slowly build momentum.
Yeah. Yeah. And he sort of had this different mindset coming into that, is what I'm hearing you say, right? It's like there was no volleying on whether or not he thought he could do it. He was like, no, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like dipping your toe in the pool or just jumping in.
Right.
It's like you can dip your toe in from
different personalities, different risk factors for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the word sacrifice, often synonymous with fatherhood, often very synonymous with motherhood, I will tell you. But it leads to resentment. It leads to burnout. How do you teach your clients to differentiate between draining sacrifices that diminish them versus purposeful, selfless sacrifices that like build their legacy, forge them into leaders for their families? What does that shift in perspective need to look like in practical daily terms?
And I think all that has to do with your perspective and how you are framing what you're doing. Because I will hear from fathers, I get no appreciation. I do all these things and I get no appreciation. And I'm if you read my content, like the way I help fathers is by telling them what I consider the truth and by challenging them to be better. So I'll just say, suck it up. You don't need it. Like, this is what you signed up for. You need to, sometimes, like, you'll have a full cup. Sometimes you'll be giving from an empty cup. But, 18 years from now, when your kids are gone, you can seek appreciation. You can seek those things. But right now, you just might not get it. And if you want to be a selfless leader, it means you're doing it for a greater purpose, more than just a pat on the back. So cutting the lawn, taking the trash out, whatever you consider a dad duty, if you are doing that so your wife says good job, or for a pat on the back, or so someone thinks you're a certain way, then you're basically a yes man and you're playing the nice guy role, and you're also changing yourself to, you're saying, I want to be this person so I get this reaction from somebody else, instead of I'm doing this because this is what I believe and this is what I choose to do, which also that can take us down a wormhole. But the daily actions you take need to be tied to your identity once again. This is the person I believe I am. I think I'm a selfless husband, father. I think I'm a selfless leader. So what does that person do? If you're a general of an army, you don't like give an order, do a project, do your thing, and then say, did everybody see that? I'm sure there's some people do, but that's not what a leader does. If you consider yourself a leader, it shouldn't be, I'm going to lead if I get this in return. Like, I'll do this nice thing for my wife if I get this in return from her. If it's a transactional relationship, then you're not doing it selflessly. You're actually doing it selfishly. It's like, well, I'll give my wife these flowers so that I can get, it can't be like that. Like, that's the difference. It's either you're doing your daily actions with a selfish perspective or with a selfless perspective. And that can offend some people. That can definitely challenge some people. But in my experience, that's the difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm kind of relating this back to sort of like an intrinsic motivation versus an extrinsic one.
Yeah.
And, when you do things intrinsically, there's more sustainability there, that this is going to be a long-term kind of deeply rooted way that you just are, right? It's part of your identity, like you said. And it's kind of like a bonus if there's an extrinsic, factor there of like a pat on the back or like an appreciative, you know, affirmation or whatever that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's eventually you will, like, if a guy would join us, you start out with all extrinsic motivation. And it's the same thing as someone would see some of your content, some of my content, any content that motivates you or inspires you. Like, that's extrinsic motivation. You need it. Like, I still need it. When I was at the gym this morning, I was listening to things that pumped me up. When I journal positive affirmations for myself so I can build myself up. That's all extrinsic stuff that I need. So take inspiration wherever you can get it. And then it's, okay, well, if I do these things enough times and it becomes who I am, then I could also be the person who provides that myself, and then it is intrinsic. I think you need both, but if you find yourself like in the bottom of the pit where you're at the point in your life is like, I'm fed up, I need to do something, then don't shy away from extrinsic motivation. You need it right now. You need other people. You need people to push you. That's the point that you're at right now. And then once you change yourself, you can be the person who does that to other people. But I hear this from guys. They'll say, I have to do it myself. I can't accept help from anybody. I have to do it myself. It's like, okay, well, then you're just going to suffer for more years. And then your family's going to suffer for more years. You don't get any bonus points for going alone. It just takes you longer to get to where you want to go. Like, I've had coaches for many years now. They have propelled me to places I want to go much faster than if I insisted on doing it alone.
Yeah, I agree. Best coaches have coaches, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, Chris, for the moms listening, our main audience here.
Sure.
What role can the moms play in helping their partners, their husbands, living their best lives? Is it that bonus sort of like affirmative good job? Like, what can we do to help them?
So this past 2 months, I've had a vast majority of the men who've joined my program have been there because their wives have told them to do it, which is unbelievable. Like, I've had all these applications. It's like, my wife told me to do this. I've had a guy, like, a different mom just bought her husband the thing for Father's Day. Like, that was his Father's Day gift, was to do this. He's already down like 15 pounds. So the best thing is to support them. And you almost have to do objection handling with your husband, because in their heads, they're thinking, if I go to the gym and work on myself, it's selfish. Or if I invest in myself, it's selfish. Or if I do these things that will help me be more present, patient, happier, confident, and be a better husband and father, I can't, because because this is in my head, this is what a husband and father does. He spends all his time here, not realizing some of the time they're also not doing those things. So the best thing if your husband is this guy who is struggling in some of these ways, the best thing you could do is is be honest with him in a kind, comforting, loving way, without backing down. And I know this is a kind of a difference. You could tell me if it's different. It can be a difference between men and women, is bluntness versus not bluntness. I know sometimes with my own wife, I'm like, please just tell me exactly what it is. Like, don't circle the topic. So try, ladies, to tell your husband as openly and honestly as you can, listen, I know that you're struggling right now. I know that you want to be in better shape. I know that you want to be more energetic. I know you want to be like maybe you used to be, or you don't want to be. So be super honest with them. In the way you say it matters. Like, don't bring up past things. Don't be patronizing. Say it in a comforting, loving way. Like, you want the best for them. So first off, be open and honest. And then just say, like, I want you to take care of yourself. I want you to be happy again. I want you to be strong again. I want you to be confident again. And guys, if you're listening, your wives want that for you. They want you to be happy. And that's the main reason these ladies, they tell me, they're like, I want to see my husband on fire again. I can see it dying within him. It's very sad. So like, just be open and honest and say, like, the thing I want for you isn't this new grill. Because that's an easy thing that a husband would tell his wife. What do you want for Father's Day? A new grill. No, I want to give you this time to where you can go to the gym. And then if you're the husband, hey, set your alarm clock back like we do in my group. We set our alarm clocks back an hour earlier. We go to the gym before everyone wakes up, and then we're back and we're good. But also, if you're the wife listening, like, understand that, man, your relationship, your whole family dynamic and energy, what would it be like if your husband loved and respected himself and was just happy more? Happiness. Guys are so propelled intrinsically by their accomplishments, who they think they are, their physical bodies, just progress. How would your relationship and your family dynamic change? How much less would he snap? How much more patient and present would he be? Same thing for women. When you take care of yourself, you just feel good. My wife would say the exact same thing. So be open and honest, encourage them, and support them, and let them know that them becoming their best is the thing you want for them.
Awesome. Thank you. Such good advice. Appreciate it. Chris, we're going to move on to the part of our show where we like to ask just random personal questions to our guests to get to know you a little better. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Curious about this one. What's your go-to, like, get it done song, motivating song?
This is going to be really weird, but I like to listen to white noise.
Okay, yeah.
I told you, weird. Like, it's not a pump up song. I did classical music when I was in college. For me, if I'm listening to a lot of words, like, sometimes I'll listen to an audiobook or a podcast but if I, like, to this morning, I just listen to white noise because it kills all the other thoughts in my brain. And I was at the gym when I was listening to it, and I can only focus on the thing I'm doing. However, before I'm making content or reels and stuff like that, there's a composer named Tony Anderson. He's like a classical composer. I use it in a lot of music for my reels. I'll also listen to Tony Anderson if it wants to get me into, like, an emotional kind of fatherhoody, creative type of mindset. But yeah, not an inspirational answer, but that's the truth for me.
No, I love it. It's kind of meditative, I would think, the white noise,
Yeah, for me, it, like, eliminates all the other thoughts. It, like, implants something that means nothing, and then I can just focus on what I'm doing. If I really need to get something done, I turn on, it's actually called brown noise. It's called, if you turn to YouTube brown noise, it'll turn up. And it just, like, works perfectly with my brain. It'll eliminate everything else, and I can just hone in on what I'm doing.
Okay. All right. Cool. If you could go on vacation tomorrow anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
It would be in the Shenandoah Mountains. We did this 6 years ago with my family. There was a farmhouse that we did. There's no reception, mountains in front of you, goats and stuff off in the distance. And it was no reception, beautiful, cold, low humidity. And I could just totally relax and reset. As soon as you pull onto that property, you're just totally relaxed. Like, we just went camping last week. There's no reception. Same thing. It was unbelievable. So that's what I love. I'll choose the cool mountains with the hoodie on, campfire over the beach any day.
Yeah. It's nice to be able to get off the grid sometimes with the technology, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What if you could only eat one food for the rest of your life? Calories don't count.
I think it would be pizza. I was going back between steak and pizza. I love steak. But we've got a pizza oven in our backyard. I love pizza so much. It's got to be pizza.
Yeah. And what's something most people don't know about you?
When I was in 4th grade, I was the first place winner of a 5-mile race. I went from almost last place the year before to first place in 4th grade. And that's one of those things of proof that I always carry with myself, as I did it.
Love that. What a great story. 5 miles.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a long one.
Yeah. Chris, well, thank you so much for being here. Tell our listeners where they can find you, where they can learn more about you. If the mamas listening want to gift this to their husbands, where they can get it.
Instagram is my biggest platform where I've got the biggest following and where I'm the most active. Like, always posting to my stories. I post like 2 or 3 times a day. So if you follow, it's just Rising Father on Instagram. That's also the best place to contact me. You can just send me a DM. Like, if there's any place that I'm checking, it's not email, it's none of that stuff. It's like my Instagram DM. So if you send me a message there, that's the best place. If you want, Rising Father podcast is good. Everything I post on Instagram gets reposted on, like, TikTok and Facebook and all those other places on YouTube. But if you want to reach out, Instagram's the place. And then there's links to the website and all that stuff is on there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Chris. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet. Absolutely. Thank you.